We all know how it is with all of these woke college students and how they're oppressed by everyone and how everything is racist and how everyone who is white has white privilege somehow. But Candace Owens does not take any of this nonsense and lays the smackdown on these woke college students. But as I usually say, I am not going to talk anymore, so let us get into the video.
Oh my gosh, I literally love this outfit because... No, it's okay. I was just saying I love your outfit because literally my son right now loves Peter Pan, and I just bought him the hook. So this is incredible. I love that. Go ahead.
All right, so can you mateys hear me?
Pardon?
Can you mateys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so my question for you was, I believe in high school you had a racial discrimination lawsuit, and you received $50,000 from your school as a result of this. And you've recently claimed that, like, racism isn't, like, such a big deal. So are you interested in perhaps giving that money back, or like what's the plan?
I'm highly convinced at this point that all of these woke people just do not know how to follow logic. Even I can understand that Candace Owens does not follow the ideology that there is no racism in the world. Her whole point and my whole point is that people use racism to justify everything. When something goes against people, they use the race card. When they don't like something, they use the race card. When they can't get their way, they use the race card. They use racism for everything. We are not denying that racism doesn't exist because we all know it does. That is not their point. So people do face racism, just not in the way you wokies like to say racism exists. I am not surprised you come in with a costume because you can't live in the real world and you don't live in the real world. So you put on a costume to signify your entire life is why you're wearing the costume.
So you're not educated about my life, and I'm very happy to educate you. And by the way, the best way to get educated about my life is to purchase my book where I talked about this in chapter 2. I do just want to tell you that because it's remarkable to me that I wrote about this extensively in my book, and people always think this is a gotcha. They're like, gotcha, this happened to you in high school. Yeah, it's actually the reason I am conservative is because of this thing that happened to me in high school, which was a race incident that involved a kid that was my best friend, and he... You know, I got a boyfriend, that's the truth, and stopped hanging out with all my friends, as high school girls do. Totally innocent, normal situation. And one night, he obviously had too much to drink and got 3 people who I had never heard of or met to leave really horrific racist messages.
Before we get back into the video, I need everyone to turn on their post notifications so that you get notified whenever one of my videos come out. Like the video as much as possible, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow me on Twitter at YinkaThatGuy. Let us get back into the video.
Now, I've never once said that racism doesn't exist. That's something that was created by The Root, and people keep saying I've said it. Actually, I say the exact opposite. Racism will always exist as long as human beings exist, as human beings are ignorant, right? And that's when you meet somebody that's actually racist, they're just ignorant.
It really is that simple. If there is a person on this earth that doesn't actually believe racism exists, they are an idiot. But this person claiming that Candace doesn't believe that racism exists and she should give the money that she got back is just pure stupidity, and it just shows you how ignorant they are and how stupid and how gullible they are to believe the things that they believe in. I've experienced racism, and I can also say I've experienced more racism than majority of the people who claim that they've experienced racism due to their failings. I've experienced racism where I've been physically attacked and they outwardly said that's the reason they're attacking me. Majority of you are chasing ghosts of how you've not got a certain job and that's racism, or you couldn't get a certain position and that's racism, or someone doesn't like you and that's racism, or they don't like your hairstyle and that's racism. Everything to you wokies and everything to you people who just can't get what you want in life, call everything racism. Funny that I can experience more racism than most people and I still don't think racism exists the way all of these woke people say it does. You all love to just complain about things because that's the easiest thing to do. It's easy to complain, and I've said this many times in all of my videos. The people who complain all the time are people who don't do anything in life. It's easy to complain and it's hard to work hard, and that's why people do the opposite.
People are like, I could never even be offended by you being a racist because I'm going to be so far ahead of you in life. It's ridiculous, right? But going back to the story, this kid used to be my friend. He was upset that I stopped hanging out with him. And unfortunately, one of the people that left these messages happened to be the governor of Connecticut's son. So this turned overnight into a political sensational story. It's my first introduction to the media, my first introduction to the NAACP, who showed up at the front of my school, had never talked to me, but tried to raise money off of real hurt that I was going through. Nobody tried to sit down and actually resolve the situation. Was the kid a racist? Well, obviously not, because we were best friends for years, right? Was he hurt? Yes. Did he say racist things? Yes. That situation, and by the way, the money refund that you're talking about was because while this was a huge news cameras outside event, homeschooled. I had to stay home and homeschool and get private tutoring while this was going on until the FBI could trace these phone calls. So if you're stepping to the plate to tell me that that's not right, that, you know, you got reimbursed for being out of school, you're making not a very valid point, I don't think. But the moral of what my lesson was that people are raising money. What I learned from it was people are literally raising money off of racism. The NAACP never wants racism to go away.
I always wonder how these people feel to be shown how stupid and ignorant they are. He came up trying to be funny with the pirate costume and trying to talk like a pirate and asking a stupid question, and then his stupid question gets absolutely debunked. How do they go home and sleep at night? And to be honest, I know how they go home and sleep at night. They'll just continue the same thing and they don't learn anything because their friends continue to encourage them, social media continues to encourage them, and even the government continues to encourage them. Everyone continues to push this agenda that racism is the cause and root cause of everything. If something doesn't go right for a person of color, as they love to call them, it must be racism. And if you as a black person go against this whole agenda, you're seen as an Uncle Tom or insert other derogatory term. These people love being victims and they get praised for being victims, so why wouldn't they continue to perpetuate the cycle of being a victim? They love to keep telling you you're a victim so that they can continue to divide while they take everything that you own.
They can fund on finding it everywhere, and they didn't care about the fact that I was a young teenager. I learned a lesson about the media. It's all about selling headlines and selling your story and your point of view, and nobody looked at me or those boys for matter. One of them was 12 and was being called a racist, and it impacted the rest of that kid's life. Like, I mean, these kids were suicidal, on drugs, plenty of arrests after it, because that's how traumatic it was to have adults rush and instead of adulting, labeling kids for the rest of their lives without trying to get to the root of the situation. So I appreciate the Captain Hook heroic attempt to catch me at my own game, but I am very proud of what I went through in high school, and I thank God for it because it woke me up to a lot of the things that we're facing today in our society. And thank you so much for your question.
That was an absolute masterful and gracious response from Candace Owens, and I think this student might and just might go home and have something to think about because of what she actually said and her experience and how she came out of the experiences that she went through, because her experience speaks to a lot of people who have gone through things that she's gone through, similar to myself, who have gone through real racist experiences and real heavy racist experiences and came out on the opposite side, not saying that everything is racist. I understand that racism exists. I understand that there are racist people, but I overcome that with the things I do in my life, and I don't worry about that, because worrying about things like that do not help me and do not allow me to further myself in my own life. But anyway, that was another video, another reaction. As I usually say, if you guys enjoyed the video, like the video as much as possible, comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter /X at YinkaThatGuy, and I'm out.